Most important decision that you're going to make in your life is who you decide to have kids with. This is going to affect the generations to come in your bloodline and also your previous generations too. This is a massive decision, and it's not one that should be taken lightly. I honestly believe it's the biggest decision of your life. This is why I feel it's a massive shame that a lot of people will be with someone out of convenience and comfort when they know in their heart of hearts that that is not the right person for them at all. I do have sympathy for these people though, because I was that person too. I got my first somewhat serious relationship when I was 17 years old, and I stayed with this girl for a long time, despite seeing all the warning signs, despite the constant arguments, despite knowing the compatibility was not there in the long run. We would have these ideas of being together long term, like all couples do, right? We plan stuff, plan kids, you plan kids' names, where you're going to live, what kind of lifestyle you want, all of this stuff. However, the cracks were there very, very early on in our relationship. Like I say, the constant arguments. But for me, I understand this, why people do this. It's that fear of going into the unknown, not knowing what is out there. If anyone's out there, is anyone better? That is what keeps 99% of people in a relationship, when they know that it's not right for them. I see this time and time again with my peers, with people I know, with friends, all of these types of people. And now I've become somewhat of an expert in kind of spotting these people, knowing that they're not right for each other, and they probably know it. Both of them know it themselves, that I'm probably not right. I'll speak to people and be like, oh yeah, I don't really want to be with her, I'm going to break up with her soon. But I'm like, all right, go break up with her then. But nothing happens. They're still together a year later, 2 years later. It just keeps going on because they're in a comfortable relationship. It's very convenient. Sex is accessible, they're having that regularly, it's someone to spend time with. I understand it, it's nice, isn't it? Who doesn't want regular sex? Who doesn't want someone you can speak to regularly? Comfort, it's nice, especially in the evenings. I'm like, oh, it would be nice if I was with someone, but I know that's not really what I want in my heart of heart. It's not what is going to really make me happy. It's not fair to do that to them, because I know that I would always have my eye out for other options, and it's just not really the right thing to do. But anyway, in this video I'm going to be talking you through the key components that you must consider, and this is vital when it comes to deciding your life partner. Everything that you should consider before you find this person, before committing to this person. And maybe you are currently in a relationship with someone, and you will watch this video and be like, he's got a point, he's mentioned that, and I don't really think we align on this kind of category or this pillar that I'm going to speak about. And by no means, I'm not trying to ruin your relationship or anything like that. I honestly want what is best for you and best for your partner too. And although you're going to sacrifice some short-term pleasure, some short-term satisfaction, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. You don't want to be someone who's 40 years old, you're in an unhappy relationship with someone, you've done everything that she wanted, you've got the house that she wanted, you've got dogs, you've got kids, you've got all of this stuff that I'm not saying is not nice to have at all, but is it really, as a masculine man, what you really want from your life? Also for women, if any women are watching this too, it might not be what you want. I'm not just speaking to men. You might be with a man, like I say, out of convenience and comfort. And I want you to really consider this, because like I say, I'm not trying to ruin your relationship. Although I've been accused of this a few times, I do understand the level of influence I do have, because I feel like a lot of my points are fairly accurate. And because I've experienced quite a lot of these types of things in relationships and seeing them within my peers, I kind of know what doesn't work, what does work. I have a higher level of understanding than most people do have. And people that have been with my sister over the last year, 2 years, have accused me of brainwashing her and saying that it's me doing the talking, it's not actually her. but basically they're just trying to manipulate her into thinking like that's the case. I've never ever told her what to do once. I'll never tell you what to do. All I will do is give you advice and guidance on what is the best thing for you, and it's up to you whether you take this or not. I'm not telling you what to do. No one has to listen to me. But if you feel like my points are kind of getting to you and that they are somewhat accurate, then it's probably best that you're not with the relationship, not with that person, who you're in a relationship, because it's just not going to work. It's not going to make you happy and fulfilled in the long run, which is what we want. The whole aim of this channel is for a better life for you, for a better life for men across the world. When we're seeing the vast majority of men completely unhappy in their life, I think the statistics prove that 4 out of 5 men are unhappy with their lives. And I think a lot of this, if you got it down to the reasoning as to why this is the case, I'm sure a lot of it will come down to kind of their life setup and how the partner they have chosen to be with, or kind of not chosen, but it was the best option or the only option they had at their time. But not a lot of people will speak about this issue, and I don't want you to make the same mistake as a lot of people do and live that life where you've got the kids, you've got the house you don't want, you've got all these kind of liabilities, you've got all these bills, you have to work a job you hate, but you decided to just jump at that first hurdle. Anything that came your way, you just went for young, and you got committed, you got comfy. And I made this mistake young, but I've learned from it now, and I want you to do the same thing. But it's a bit of a rant, but obviously you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this because I see it time and time again, and I genuinely do care. I want the best for you, unlike most people. But anyway, let's get on to what I believe. And obviously this is my point of view. At the end of the day, I'm 22 years old. I'm going to make mistakes. Not everything I say in this video, I might not agree with it 6 months down the line. And it's up to you, as I always say, to make your own views. Use my guidance, use my advice, but don't make it your opinion on life either. And it's not exactly what matters to you. But for me, from what I've learned in my 22 years, this is everything that matters for me. And the first two are by far the most important things. You could probably forget the other things in the list and just completely focus on these first two things, and that's your vision and values that you have. And obviously, more importantly, the vision and values of the partner you are wanting to be with. You have to really consider these extremely heavily and go into some deep analysis as to whether they are aligned. So let's talk about values, because I feel like maybe this is even more important. If you don't value the same things in life, for example, for me, like honesty, integrity, loyalty, stuff like that, off the top of my head, they were 3 things that I very much value. And if you kind of are with someone who's not really like that, they're not very honest, they're not very loyal. Obviously, that's a massive thing when it comes to relationships, but we know a lot of people aren't these days. If they're not valuing the same things as you in life, it's not going to work. They're not the right person for you. But unfortunately, we know the effect of pussy power these days that it has on a lot of men. They're getting very desperate. And this is when their values go out the window. It's happened to me, especially when I've been younger. There'll be a girl that's absolutely beautiful, but she's not a very nice person. She doesn't value the things that you value. You don't share the same values. If she was the male version of herself, you wouldn't want to be friends with her. Because she's beautiful, you're like, I want her to be my girlfriend. I want her to be my wife. I want to have sex with this woman. Of course you do. But you have to always go back to these 2 things. I think it's the most important thing. What do they value? What do you value? You have to take time to think about this first. Because if you don't know what you value, don't be with someone who doesn't know what they value either. It's just not going to work. You have to take time to find your values. Once you find your values, find someone who is on the same wavelength of you, the same values as you. And until you find that person, it's just not worth it at all. But a lot of people, if I ask you, what do you really value in a woman? You probably wouldn't know. Take some time to really think about this. And your vision, where do you want to be in your life? What is it that really matters? What is your big purpose for your life? How do you want your life to look? Is it living in the same place? Is it traveling a lot? What type of career do you want? What kids? What kind of just life kind of setup do you want in your life? How do you want your life to look? So first, like I say, with your values, take some time to really think about this. What life will make me happy? What is my dreams? What's my biggest aspirations? And then you want to find someone who has very similar aspirations to you. They're quite ambitious like yourself. You want to find a woman like that. I know there's few and far between these days, but if you don't find someone who matches that, there's always going to be, like I say, like you have in a lot of these modern day relationships, a lot of arguments, because it comes back to your values and vision. You don't want the same things in life. You don't want to go to the same places. So of course you're going to disagree. But this is something that you need to get sorted early on in your relationship. You need to figure out what you want, and you need to ask this person pretty early on, like, this is kind of the vision that I want to go. This is where I want my life to go. What kind of life do you want to live? What is kind of your dream? It's quite an important thing, but a lot of people just will ignore it and not speak about it and just kind of go through life like, we'll just see how it goes and all of this bullshit. Well, who wants that? Like, who actually wants that in a partner? I think it's pathetic. I don't think that's a good way to go about a relationship whatsoever. But you always come back to values and visions, but there's a few other things that I want to consider. And number 3 is their past, and without getting too vulgar, it's their sexual past that is very important. I think a lot is obviously spoken a lot about promiscuity. God, I can't say that right. Particularly in the West, in the UK, US, it's getting worse and worse. And obviously it's a big problem. I don't think all women are like this, and all men are definitely not either too. But there's a lot of women who are like that, and you have to take this into consideration. Do you really want to be with a woman who has slept around with 30 plus guys? Obviously, I want you to take this into context too, because if you are with a woman who might be a bit older, maybe she's 25, 30. Like, let's use a good example. She's probably been having sex since she was 16. So say she sleeps with 2 guys a year, which is not that bad. And she's 25 now, so that's 9 years. Times that's 18 people. You say if she slept with 18 people, well, that sounds quite bad on paper. But it's very important to relate it back to the context. How old is she? What the types of people, who was she sleeping with? Were they long-term relationships with their boyfriend? Because obviously that's a lot better. If a lot of these are like one-night stands and stuff, then it's really you've got to pay attention to these things and be like, do I really want to have kids with this person? Can I really rely on that? Do I want that person as my wife? I know for a lot of you men, obviously, yes, you don't. But 2, you have to consider what type of person are you, what is your past as well. Because it's all well and good saying we don't want women with sexual past who have slept around. But if you're a man that has done the exact same thing, you cannot have the expectation that you are going to find a virgin woman who's all good, who's never slept around or has only slept with like 1 or 2 people. If you slept with 50 plus women, it just makes you an absolute hypocrite. And that is a big problem I kind of have with kind of the red pill space. A lot of these guys will sleep around with all these women that they moan about and say they're degenerates and say, oh, the West is ruined, but they're making the women just ruined. It makes absolutely no sense, but it's something you must consider. And obviously I hope you're a young man on self-improvement, you're not doing this kind of degenerate stuff like sleeping around with a load of women who are not good for you, who are kind of ruining your soul. It's just not good for you. It's not really much better than masturbating. It's probably actually worse for you because there's more people involved. It's not just a shame and guilt that you kind of feel back on yourself from masturbating. Other people are involved, and it is a lot of people probably won't really see it as a big issue. If you've done it over a lot of times now, you probably have got to a stage where you're like, this is just normal, this is just how it is, especially with kind of the way media and society promotes it. It's kind of just a normal thing to do. It's not, it's pretty disgusting. And I think when it comes to a lot of people wanting a serious relationship, they're not really going to be wanting that type of person as their partner. However, like I say, if you are someone who has led that kind of lifestyle, is probably what you deserve. You're probably going to be, that's kind of the person, that is kind of your equal, so to speak. You can't expect anything less, really, I believe. But that is a very important factor. And number 4 is the relationship that they have with their family. See, I think this is a massive point that I do believe that a lot of people, if you have a woman and she doesn't have a great relationship with her family, she's very disrespectful to her parents or her siblings, they're not close at all, that would be a big red flag for me. I'd be like, why does she not really have a close relationship with her family? Because for me, I'm very close to my mum and sister, and family means an awful lot to me. So I would not really consider someone who is not like me when it comes to their family if they just have a really poor relationship. Obviously, some people are born into unfortunate circumstances where their family does not treat them too well and they can't do too much about it. Maybe they just don't have a very good relationship, but it's definitely something that I do believe you should consider, is how they treat their family. I think you should definitely take a lot of notice of that and consider it when it comes to, if it's someone you were considering seeing, what is their relationship with their family. And number 5 is finances. I think a lot of people probably won't want to speak about this because a lot of people don't like talking about money. But I do believe kind of the financial background of someone is quite important, their kind of social, economic background, so to speak. You don't want to be with someone who's kind of just going to be with you for your money. You want to know that if something does go wrong, they've got their own kind of 2 feet to stand on. Like I say, it's not the most important thing you should worry about, but for me, it's definitely something that I would consider when I'm considering the person I want to be with for the rest of my life, the person who I want to raise kids with. Wouldn't really want to be with someone who comes from a background who doesn't kind of have anything at all. I know it is unfortunate that some people are born into complete poverty, but for me, when it comes to someone who I do want to spend the rest of my life with, I feel like that is an important factor. A lot of people might disagree with me on this one, and they'll probably say that it's not really fair to judge people on that because a lot of people can't help it, which is a fair point. But for me, I do think it is an important factor, and I think if you were being honest with yourself and thinking from a logical, rational point of view, who do I want to raise kids with? If you want a person who comes from a decent financial, social, economic background, and also that they are financially literate. And this is a big problem in our generation because most people aren't. Like I said in my previous video, it's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. And that is so key. A lot of people don't know what to do with their money. They live paycheck to paycheck, they just spend what they earn. And that is a massive thing. If they know what to do with their money, it's very big for someone like me who is very financial literate. I know what to do with money. I don't waste money on bullshit. I just wear like a plain t-shirt and shorts, and that's about it. I don't need it. I don't spend money on shit that doesn't make me happy. So I want to have someone who's kind of on the same wavelength to me. And the final point I want to talk about, which is a bit of a difficult one for me, is the presence of a father. Because for me, growing up, as I've mentioned, as you guys will probably know, I did not have a very good relationship with my father. I say he was there, but not there. He was physically there, but my sister, neither of us had a good relationship with him. And it's hard for me to speak about, especially because when it comes to women, obviously, my sister didn't have a very good relationship with her father, so it's a bit unfair. I feel unfair for me to say like, she doesn't have a good relationship with her father, so she's not a good partner. However, I do believe that a lot of women, not all, but a lot of women who haven't had a strong father figure there to put, like going back to the first point, a good values inside of them, often tend to be quite promiscuous. They will end up sleeping around. They're easily influenced by their friends and peers because they've not had a strong father to kind of say like, look, you don't do this, you do this. You kind of teach them what to do. And I for me myself, I missed that. I really wish I had that person to kind of put those strong values in me, but I've had to kind of I've had a lot from my mum, which I'm massively grateful for and appreciative, and so has my sister too, which has helped a lot. But I do think it is an important thing to consider as a man, considering who you want to be with for the rest of your life, is if their father has been present or not. I think it does make quite a big difference on the woman. And like I say, from the people that I've kind of met with and without father figures, I have seen quite a lot of difference in them, in kind of how they go about life, especially when it comes to sleeping around and that type of stuff, which is a shame, obviously a massive shame. But at the end of the day, you want what is best for you, and you want the most compatible and the most suitable partner for you. And like I say, you don't want that type of person. But these are the most important things that I think you should consider, and like everything I can really think of. But like I say, going back to visions and values, they are the two pillars that you must consider. And if those two don't align, then you should really consider something else, that you are not right for each other. I know it's going to be a difficult decision for you to make, but you have to do what is best for you, best for your partner too, and think long term, delay your gratification, and just go for the person that is going to be right for you, which you will find, particularly if you play the long game and level up your life and become the best version of yourself and the most attractive to your partner. So I hope it's helped you, and I really hope it does influence you in making what will probably be the most important decision of your life, as I do say. If you think I've missed anything, or if you maybe disagree with some of my points, then please do let me know. That would probably help other people below in the comments if they are kind of unsure if there's anything I could add. There probably is. Like I say, I'm young, I make mistakes, I don't know it all, I never would say that. But that would probably help more than you would believe. Link will be below. If you kind of want more guidance on this type of stuff personally with your life, if you're kind of with someone that you're not really sure if they're right for you, you want a bit more guidance, I will do my best to help you. So link will be below to my one-on-one coaching. But like I say, make your own views and opinions from kind of what you hear and what you want from your own life. And if you could like and subscribe, that would be massively appreciated. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.